Oh hey, I didn't see you there. Let me just say that after last week's video, I kinda just want to cool it down a little bit. Can we do that? Even though I've been consistently trying to do YouTube for the past 10 years, but more so with my output and quality being a lot better than it was maybe about 8 years ago, I still don't know what to do with my hands. I'm still so tempted to just hold up the microphone like this and talk like a host. As I was saying, I kind of want to cool it down a little bit, and I thought it would be a good video idea to talk about my experiences with college. As of now, it has been at least a year since I graduated from my undergraduate studies at Roanoke College. If you're an alum there, or you are currently attending there, hello. Hello. And right now I am smack dab in the somewhat almost middle of my master's degree program. I'm not going to say for what, but I'm just there. And job hunting has been the most fun part of this whole experience. This may be a shorter video than what is usually expected from my general output, but if it'll help somebody, especially if you're over there at Roanoke, then this video will be worth it, I think. Some people could say that I'm giving away too much information about myself. My experience will take us all the way back to 2018, and I had the opportunity to stay at Roanoke College's most acclaimed living accommodation, Crawford Hall. For those of you who are on the campus, you already know. For those of you who are not on the campus, it is the worst place to live in the college. Pretty much every floor is one more degree of crime, and I was accommodated on the first floor. The third floor, we will come back to later. My first living arrangement was in room 123, which at the time was this brand new renovated room, and funnily enough, it was extremely spacious. You could fit so many things in there. You can fit 2 gaming chairs, a lot more room than needed, a whole rack dedicated to either Monster Energy or snacks that maybe somebody would come back for. And as much as I'm exaggerating its description, actually living there wasn't that bad. In fact, I might argue that it is one of the, if not the best year that I had at the college. Partly due to the fact that I was with one of my best friends, Riley, and we sure party hard. Oh, we did. What did we do? We played Monster Hunter. And, he had a racing rig, and he had another racing rig because the first racing rig wasn't compatible with the PC. In part, I think rooming with him might have been a mistake for me, and this is where I'm going to go into detail on said mistakes. Number 1, I didn't really make a lot of friends during that first year. Maybe because I was so comfortable just constantly, you know, having fun rooming with Riley and going on daily shenanigans. I didn't really put trying to befriend other people as a priority. Now thinking back, that could be one aspect, but another aspect could have just been my major at the time, which was biology, and I was not good during those 2 years I was at the college. I struggled a lot. Even though I understood the basics of what I was learning, none of the information could be fully retained. It could have been done in part due to how I studied, or just my approach to learning and containing information, but I didn't do that well. And it was because of these struggles and pushbacks that I found myself having to prioritize my studies over trying to meet new people and make connections. Big mistake. My sister was the complete opposite of me, and at this time, we were both in the same college. She could make friends with pretty much anyone if they were in her general radar, I think. Not me though. Can't do that. It wasn't that I didn't like making friends. It was just that I was in differing circumstances that would prevent me from being in situations that would do so. In part due to studies and the lack of flexibility. A lot of my time would be spent usually playing games or studying and hanging out with Riley if we have time, and that was it. Of course, we would make some friends. Riley obviously made some pretty great friends there. For me, though, and I guess it was with Riley and I, we both made friends within the Crawford dormitory on the first floor. And it wasn't that bad. There were some people that we talked to, and then we just didn't see them next year. I don't know why. Who knows? I know why. That was a rhetorical question. But wherever you are, I hope you're doing well. So as time moves on, we just keep on going. One of the people in our dormitory, for some reason, walked over to the local sheets, and we had to drive them all the way back. Just it's a 30-minute walk going there, and then we had to drive them back. Let's go. Moving forward in 2019, in my second year, I was still kind of struggling, but at least I had a better understanding of how to better go about my curriculum and study. It didn't really help. I found myself having the same problems that I had when I was a freshman. Due to circumstances, Riley was unable to room with me, which means that I was left in a 2-person dorm all by myself. And what do you do when one of your closest friends is not there and you're still struggling with your classes and maintaining a balance between work and relaxation? You build up a weird routine. It was optional, but it was breakfast, go to class, rest, go to class, rest a little bit, or go to the library, then go to the dining hall and or go to the cavern, which is the bottom dining hall, and then go back to the room. And that was it. It was on repeat like that. I remember repeatedly watching Super Mega Cast, Scott the Woz, having a Game Grumps compilation up in the background, or even, this was during the beginning of Unis Honest, so I would have those videos playing along as well. It was a weird time. And oh my god, that was 4 years ago. That same span of time, 4 years, is basically, say you are 10 years old, right? You're in 4th grade. You're pretty much in 4th or 5th grade. 4 years later, you are going to be in high school. This completely skips over middle school. That's so weird. Oh. And that sounds great. That sounds amazing to have your own accommodation and just have all your stuff everywhere. It's like a big apartment. It's like one of those big apartments in New York, which is actually the size of a room. That's $4,000 per month. Regardless, it was great. It's what I would be saying if it weren't for the dormitory. If you remember back before when I said that we would come back to Crawford again, we literally did come back to Crawford. And this time, I was on the 3rd floor, which is the equivalent of, like, I don't know, Skid Row of Roanoke. Which, this isn't a bad Skid Row, but it's just troublesome. Broken glass sometimes, there would be garbage, people didn't even know how to microwave their own food, an accumulation of paper towels, messy sinks, because people with beards would shave but wouldn't clean it up. It was amazing. Oh, and yeah, due to all the complaints, somebody from the campus came and said, hey, if you don't fix your act, we're actually going to charge the floor. And the literal next day, somebody took a big shit in the shower. And we were all charged. We were supposed to be charged $5. We were charged instead $80. By accident. I never... Oh. I never paid it. Even when it was put back to $5, I never paid it. Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. Going back to the previous topic, as I said before, I struggled with my studies again. And because of that, I had little to no time to make friends with people. The furthest I got to making friends with people was just meeting up in general at the Nerf Club. Or at I don't know, at an anime or games club. And that was fun. I never really got close to a lot of people there. And meanwhile, my sister was also trying to help me, saying, you should join a fraternity. Because of the stigma towards fraternities, I was a little skeptical, but she told me that this was arguably the best dormitory because they actually there was no hazing. I don't think... There was no hazing at Roanoke College, at least I don't think. But for this specific one, they also prioritized studying and an actually good, livable, compromising environment. Can you believe it? It's amazing what you can do if you don't do stupid things like hazing. And going too far with said hazing. It's amazing. So by the first half of the semester, I was actually struggling with my grades and just trying to balance relaxation with my studies. So I came back afterwards with an open mind. I tried to branch out and push myself out there and meet up with the people that my sister recommended and make new friends that way. It was all going to be peachy clean. I was so excited to do that. And then I remember the literal day that happened. This was maybe around March 13th before lockdown. President Maxey at the time was meeting up behind the dining hall, which I think is Ritter. I don't know the names. But I guess by the Ritter Hall or the dining hall. President Maxey was standing outside with a bunch of the students who were worried about graduation and just how their credits would transfer over and tuition. But for me, I didn't bother with any of that. I just walked straight into the dining hall because for some reason, out of all the days, this was when they were having the Frank's Red Hot chicken wing taste test event where they had maybe 5 or 6 different flavors of coated chicken wings, and you could just grab it, and it was so nice. They gave you a free water bottle. And after that event, they were handing out free water bottles. I still have this. This is a COVID trinket. But in all seriousness, I think COVID did sort of take away a year or two of people's lives, and it put everything on halt, as we all know. My sister actually was a senior during this time, and she finished college online, and she didn't really get the chance to say bye to her friends, though they did still keep in touch. And they finally got to meet again around May, when we had to all grab our stuff and clean out the rooms to be put in storage. It was a really weird time. Really weird. Really, really weird. 2020 to 2021 still seems like part of it feels like a blur. I can still remember aspects of it only because I have recorded footage of the escapades that I was indulging myself in during this time. But pretty much going to college and going through everything was still so weird. I didn't even know if I was going to come back to the campus. That was until August 2021 when it was confirmed and I could finally go all the way back to Roanoke College from New Jersey, listening to the Super Mega Cast again on a long road trip and just indulging myself in it.
Sun-kissed hair like a can of soda exploded and coated my head and go to
Okay, this time I swore myself that I would make a drastic change. I forgot to mention that during the pandemic I changed my major to public health, and that is currently what I'm tracking on and following through into my master's. Didn't I already say that I wasn't going to state it? Whatever. And I told myself that I would actually push myself out there. And I actually did. I actually followed up on it. I became very friendly with a lot of the people on my dorm, which is actually a nicer dorm. I made a mistake. This is Ritter Hall. Ritter Hall is one of the nicer, newer accommodations that was put into the campus. And it was right in the back of the field. It was so quiet. It was so nice. I still miss it. There's even evidence of this in my older videos, like the Bang Energy Drink video or the Pokemon Oreo video. That was that room. That was Ritter Hall. I remember going back and forth between Nerf Club and Anime Club, or just going back and forth and making jokes and getting friendly with a lot of people, especially at Nerf Club. In my Thank You Roanoke College video that's also on this channel, I mentioned a list of names of everybody that I became very close friends with, and I still miss all of them. Some of them have graduated, some of them are still there. So if you're watching this, hello. I'm still here. Still in school. But I got to do things like karaoke. I got to do another karaoke event. I went to... I played music in front of people. I had my own show on WRKE radio, where I got to learn how to better exercise and develop my skills as a public speaker. I will be covering a guy that I have been following for a while, and probably other people as well. It is George Miller, aka Joji,
aka who used to be Filthy Frank, but now goes by Joji.
I really tried to push myself out there, and there are moments when I look back on it that I can think of that remind me of that time. Like the music that I was listening to. I was listening to a lot of Ginger Root, and I still had a bit of a routine where I would walk it back and forth, because if there were no events, I'd usually be making YouTube videos or music, but just the walk back and forth. I would think of what I was doing in that time, which was like listen to Game Grumps compilations again, or the Trash Taste podcast, or Ginger Root, because that would be playing just 24/7 over and over. And I forgot to mention that during those 4 years, or the time that I was there, that I would be frequenting Olin Hall, which is the music department of Roanoke College, and I'd play in one of the rooms, which I'll put here, and practice and make music. I felt like I accomplished a lot, and that was actually one of the times where I was sad that it was going to end. And I knew I would miss that. That was one of the times that I can look back and be sad that it was all over, but I knew that I didn't take any day for granted. Just because I knew how lucky I was to put myself within that atmosphere and just indulge myself. Whether it be, as I said before, listening to podcasts or Ginger Root, going back and forth between Ritter and the dining hall, or just sitting in open nature where it's all green and warm outside listening to Nick Drake. It was so nice. I'll never forget it. I guess that's the main takeaway from this video, which is, I know people often say that to try their best not to have regrets and to not take everything for granted, but I'm sure that's when such a message is being reiterated so many times. People often take in that information as second nature and don't really fully comprehend it. I don't want to be one of those people that reiterates these sorts of things, but there is an importance to not taking things for granted. And I guess I just want to say is try to be aware of these moments, of these little moments where you feel like you have all this freedom, and don't try to grab at everything you can. I would often find myself just even exploring outside of the college, like exploring through Salem, and going to Charlotte's Web, or going to that smoothie shop that opened up right across the road. Would things have changed if COVID didn't happen? I think that things would have. I don't know. It's hard to gauge, but I do know that I still would have had the drive to try to push myself out there. So these things probably would have happened a lot sooner, and I probably would have met more people. Who knows? All I know is that COVID took away a huge chunk of my college life. And thankfully that's all behind us, and that those who are just coming into college or are currently in it, just to be aware of where you are in that moment and to take all of it in. Because it really does just fly by. Going from August all the way over to November will feel like 3 weeks. Of course, circumstances are different, but I think we can all agree that there's a sort of freedom to living and being around other people, especially within a college. You build all of these relationships and you build all of these connections that, if you're lucky and if you had nurtured them while there or even outside, can be with you for the rest of your life. And hopefully, all the people that I've mentioned and I'm thankful that I've met, I hope that these connections last a really long time. So don't try to do the mistakes that I made, or that people who feel that they're worried of getting out there and meeting new people. Just try to push yourself out there. You can make connections even through the smallest things that you may not be aware of, whether it be through video games or shared interest. There's a certain magic to knowing that all of these positive aspects are all around you. And I know that a lot of people are taking the most advantage of it, because I mean, even like before, we've seen it with this year. You've seen what Anthpo has done. And I even have a cousin, John, who, I don't want to say what college they're going to, but they're certainly making the most of it. And they're in their second year, I think. But they're just going along with the ride. It's so great. Please, do not make the same mistake that I did. You will regret so many things. You will look back on a lot and maybe they were good, but there are a lot of could have beens and possibilities that you might miss out on that you might not even have known about, that could open up more interests or ideas that maybe will come to you with time or just not at all. And that's all I wanted to say. So again, if you're in college, please be aware and look around you. There are so many good things around where you are, and these things will last a long time.